He's a serial, you know what? That's what I do for fun. Like, it's right up there with Akutar. Anniversary of being the bleed eclipse. 3 different genres for Beauty and the Beast. Hello booksties, welcome to today's video. I thought it would be fun to give you some book recommendations based on some of your favorite shows as well as your favorite Disney movies. So basically I'm going to be mentioning the name of the show and the type of book genre, and ideally if you mash these two together you would end up with the book recommendation that I'm going to be giving you. Same goes for the Disney movie. I'm going to mention a Disney movie and a genre of a book. Those two combined would give you your ideal book recommendation. Grab yourself a drink and let's get into it. I think I have around 10 recommendations, if I'm not mistaken. I'm going to be starting off with the show, the book genre, and then the recommended book, in my humble opinion. Now, just a disclaimer, because I'm recommending a certain book doesn't necessarily mean it was a 5-star for me, but I do believe in recommending books even if they weren't your favorites, because there might be somebody out there who is going to read this book and it might be a 5-star or even like a 6-star for them. Starting off, if you love the show Peaky Blinders and you enjoy reading Mafia romance, then my recommendation for you would be to give A House of Bane and Blood a try. It's a fantasy book, but it's supposed to be set like in the 1920s or the 1940s, and it gives off very strong mafia vibes without like the super dark elements. It has marriage of convenience, forced proximity, a very intricate and interesting magic system, which I found very intriguing, and it has a lot of action and a lot of plot twists. And it's only a 2-book series, so you don't have to sit there and invest your time in like a 5 or 7-book series, and both books are out and complete, so you can keep this in mind. The second show I'm going to be mentioning is The Handmaid's Tale. Now, this is a show that I started, but I did not finish. I don't know what happened. I think the newest season wasn't out or something, but I do remember really enjoying it when I watched it. Like, full anxiety, but also exciting. And if you watch it, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, if you really like this show, but you also enjoy reading YA books, then give Grace Year a try. Grace Year is kind of like set in a dystopian world. We don't really get a specific era or timeline, but from the vibes of the book, I'm assuming it might have been late 1800s, early 1900s. So we have that like bit of Victorian, Georgian kind of vibe going on. There's like this really weird stuff happening in this town, and they have these very strange rituals where they send these eligible girls out into the wilderness to kind of survive and fend for themselves, and whoever comes back victorious gets to marry their significant other. It's really, really weird, but it's also very interesting. And the ending was just like chef's kiss. Heads up, it is rather a sad book. It's very emotional and very like you wouldn't expect that from a YA book, but it is very emotional. So I thought I would just let you guys know. Now, if you're a true crime fan like I am, and your go-to show is Criminal Minds, and you enjoy dark romance books, then I really think you might love Born Darkly by Trisha Wolfe. It's a duology, basically follows Grayson and London. Grayson is an inmate. He is, if I remember correctly, he's a serial you know what, and London is his like court-appointed therapist, and the romance basically revolves around these two main characters, but there are a lot of twists and it is very dark, just like it says in the title, but it's also very intellectual and very deep. That is something I really appreciate about Trisha Wolf's writing. She does her research really well. It shows in her writing and in her books. Like, they are very intellectual books. Another recommendation would be the Mindfuck series, because I feel like that is like the perfect combination of Criminal Minds meets dark romance. It follows our main girl, Lana, and in a twist, she's the one who's actually the serial you know what. And the love interest, I think his name was Logan. I can't remember right now. It's been like 2 years since I've read it, over 2 years. He is the FBI agent assigned on her case. But this story as well is very emotional, very deep, has so many layers, so many plot twists you won't see coming. And if you feel hesitant about the female main character being the, you know what, I would say give it a try. Don't be too rash to judge, because somehow the author just makes it work and you end up rooting for everybody. Moving on, if you are someone who loved Harry Potter as a kid and you are also into YA fantasy and you're looking for a standalone that will give you those cozy vibes, give Sorcery of Okay, let's do that again. Give Sorcery of Thorns a try. It's a standalone. I think there's a novella that comes after. I didn't read it, to be honest. It follows our main character, and she works in this like magical library, and she is in charge of all these fun magical books. And the books in this universe have like personalities of their own. They have like all the secret information, but they're also like a little sassy, a little rebellious. And she also meets the main guy. I completely forgot his name. I'm sorry. It's been like years since I read this book. They kind of end up going on a quest together, and it was just very wholesome, very cozy, very sweet. And the magic in there was also super, super cute. Moving on to Disney movies and their respective book genres. Now, growing up, I was obsessed with Disney movies. I mean, I kind of still am. Like, I will still sit here and watch an entire Disney movie. Like, it's just what I do for fun. And I even got my kids used to it. They would just like come sit with me, and we'd be watching Sleeping Beauty. We've watched Little Mermaid, Aladdin, like all the OG good Disney movies. Also, comment down below if you are a Disney fan like I am. Let me know what movie is your number one movie. For me, it was always The Little Mermaid, but I feel like the older I got, I kind of identified with Belle from Beauty and the Beast, because like obviously she has that like awesome library. I mean, come on. Like, what bookish girly is not going to identify with that? So the first Disney movie I'm going to mention is Mulan. If you loved Mulan and the whole secret identity and like strong female character in a man's world vibe, and you also enjoy Mafia romance, then I would definitely recommend you give Blood of My Monster a try by Rena Kent. It's the Monster trilogy. It is such a fun time. Like, there is so much action and so much tension, and the main guy, he is just like so grumpy, so dark, just like chef's kiss, you know. But the thing is, I need you to go into the series with like low expectations to the logic of it all, because it's very far-fetched. Certain situations in this book are very far-fetched. So don't go in there expecting some kind of mastermind plot. The plot is still engaging, and there are a lot of plot twists. But like the idea of the book, just go in there for a good time, and then you will definitely enjoy it. A fast-paced read, so entertaining, so engaging. Loved the characters, loved the romance. Like, it was just top tier if you're into dark romance. The next movie I'm going to mention is none other than Beauty and the Beast. Now, for Beauty and the Beast, I'm going to be mentioning two different book genres. The first one is dark romance. So if you loved Beauty and the Beast and you also enjoy reading dark romance, then I would recommend Broken Prince. Okay, it's a mafia romance. It has very beast vibes, like he has a scar on his face and he's been living isolated in his like quote unquote palace. It's not like a palace, but you know, like his mansion. The main girl, she comes to stay with him for a while. I think he hired her to be like his housekeeper. Another one is called His Wicked Games. It's not a mafia, but it's a little bit of a dark taboo kind of romance. He's also like an isolated billionaire guy in his mansion. She's a reporter. They're kind of enemies to lovers, and something happens and she kind of ends up not locked up in his mansion, but like she also can't leave because of certain things that like I don't want to mention so I don't spoil it. But that one was also a very fun read. Oh, there's actually 3 different genres for Beauty and the Beast. All right. Now, this was like dark romance. If you like Beauty and the Beast and dark romance. If you like Beauty and the Beast and fantasy, then give Ben-Hur a try. It's also very Beauty and the Beast vibes, where he's like this isolated guy. He's this magician, over 800 years old. And there's this girl, she's a princess. And her family basically just like dumps her at his palace in his care, and now he's kind of like stuck with her, and he starts teaching her about magic. There's a lot of secrets, there's a lot of tension as well, because like forced proximity and all of that. But it's definitely an adult fantasy, like more dark adult fantasy. Just keep that in mind. Moving on, if you enjoyed Beauty and the Beast and you also like YA fantasy and emphasis on YA, because this series is like really YA. I am someone who enjoys YA immensely, but there's different kinds of YA in my opinion. There are some YA books that read as young adult, like you feel like you would have enjoyed them more were you younger. And a lot of adults enjoy that as well. Like, as I said, we read and we don't judge. And then there is another type of YA that I feel reads more serious, like all ages could enjoy it. This particular series, I feel, falls under the category of the younger targeted audience. So just keep that in mind. The book in this series is called A Curse So Dark and Lonely. It's a 3-book series. It's already complete. It was very fun. And it follows our main girl who comes from the modern world, and somehow she slips into this alternate... can I speak, please? And she somehow slips into this alternate reality where the quote-unquote beast lives. He is basically this like fairy prince, and he lives in a different dimension. And there is a reason to why he is the way he is. And she kind of like ends up there by accident. They start developing this friendship, and a lot of stuff happens, and things turn into adventures, and a lot of secrets are revealed. And it was a very, very fun time. The next movie I'm going to mention is The Little Mermaid. Now, if you love The Little Mermaid and you also enjoy a little bit of a dark romance, mafia kind of situation, then definitely give Emily McIntyre's newest release a try. It's called Hexed. It is a dark fairy tale retelling. It's not fantasy. It's just like a standalone, very dark retelling of The Little Mermaid. And it was done very, very well. And in this book, our main guy is actually part of the Mafia. And he was very like grumpy, but kind of sunshine underneath, and I really liked that. He was very different than her usual male characters. Our main girl was also a villain. Usually she'll write one character as the villain and the other one as like the hero, but in this book they were both kind of villains, and I thought that was a very interesting twist. It is on the larger side. It's I think over 500 pages or so. But the thing is with her books, they are so fast paced. You could finish it easily in like 1 or 2 sittings. Highly, highly recommend. If you enjoyed Little Mermaid, but you also like YA fantasy, then I would give Daughter of the Pirate King a try, because that one was just very surprisingly good in my opinion. It is YA. There is no spice in it, but the banter is phenomenal, you guys. I had such a good time reading that book, like the tension between the characters. There's also a little bit of a plot twist. It's very high stakes when it comes to like the whole pirate world, because she is like literally the daughter of the pirate king, and her dad is like this very severe, vicious, cruel kind of parent who raised her to be a savage pirate princess. This series is only 2 books, so you don't really have to commit to a long series. And I would also recommend a similar book, which is a standalone, called To Kill a Kingdom. It's also like a little bit of a mermaid siren retelling. Our main girl is also raised to be very vicious and savage, and like obviously sirens are meant to catch sailors and kind of like take their hearts and all of that, so it's got a little bit of that savagery in it. Our main guy is a prince, and that's kind of like their love story. That one was also fun. If you enjoyed Alice in Wonderland growing up, and you also gravitate towards YA fantasy, then definitely try Caraval. Now, I love Caraval regardless, and I even loved Once Upon a Broken Heart more. Both of them are like a 5-star series for me. Reading Caraval, I remember thinking back that it gave me like such strong Alice in Wonderland, like haunted, steampunk kind of vibes. So if you do enjoy that aspect of Alice in Wonderland where everything is like very weird and kind of like a fever dream, then I would highly recommend Caraval to you. Once Upon a Broken Heart is a little less Alice in Wonderland, but it still has that magical element to it where things are out of the ordinary. It's not your typical kind of fantasy. It is very engaging, as a matter of fact, because of how unusual the worlds are and the way she describes everything. Stephanie Garber has such a talent for setting up a scene and making you feel like you transported into the actual story and are like a part of the book instead of just reading words on paper. Last but not least, I'm going to mention 2 Disney movies and their respective book genres, because I feel those 2 kind of have similar vibes as movies, and they are Tangled and Sleeping Beauty. And you enjoy dark romances or like fantasy or like dark fantasy, then I have 2 excellent recommendations for you. The first one being Guild, which is book 1 of the Plated Prisoner series, and it follows our main girl, Oren. She is completely gold, like everything about her is gold. Her skin, her eyes, her hair, like literally everything about her is gold. And she lives in the court of King Midas. Now, King Midas is very abusive, and he keeps her locked up in this gilded cage. Something about this series, I gotta give you guys a few heads up. First of all, check the extensive trigger warnings on the series. It can be quite draining emotionally because there is a lot of abuse and trauma and gaslighting and stuff like that, so you need to keep that in mind. And it is also a very emotional series, but in my opinion definitely worth it, because you get to see the characters change and grow, and you get to meet our love interest. I cannot mention their name because that would be considered a spoiler, but the love interest gives me recent vibes from Alcatraz, and the found family in there as well gives me very like inner circle vibes. So I just thought I would mention that in case you're also a fan of those 2 things. The series has so many plot twists and cliffhangers, and the author recently released the last book in the series, which I still have to read. It's just like one of my very top fantasy series. It's also adult fantasy, so not only are the topics and themes dark, but there is also adult spice in there. Now, the other series that also goes hand in hand with Tangled and Sleeping Beauty would be To Bleed a Crystal Bloom by Sarah Parker. Now, just a warning, because nobody warned me when I started the series and got obsessed with it and ended up with a major bookish hangover, is that this series is unfortunately not complete, and book 3 ends on a cliffhanger. If you are someone who is gutsy and just like lives life on the edge, then by all means, go ahead and give the series a try, because to be honest, it's one of my all-time favorite. Like, it's right up there with Akutar and Sarah J Maas's books. Like, this is how much I love the series. Now, book one, it will take you about 40% to really get the hang of things, because this particular author has a very distinct way of writing, and she creates her own magical worlds. And just in order to understand her world building and what everything kind of means and how everything fits together, you might need about 40%, like, to really get the hang of stuff. But once you do, it just like becomes one of the best experiences of your life, because she writes in such a poetic, lyrical style, and she really has the whole fairy tale vibes going on. So this series follows our main girl, Orlaith. At least I hope this is how you say her name, Orlaith. Orlaith? No, Orlaith. Anyways, and she has been locked in this tower since she was a child. And not locked as in punished, but locked to kind of keep her safe. And her guardian, who is, what was his name? Oh my god, I cannot believe I just forgot the name of the guy of my favorite series. Anyways, our main guy is her guardian. There is a major age gap, obviously, but every night before she goes to bed, she drops a single drop of blood into this like water-filled goblet, and he takes it and drinks it, and she doesn't know why. And they have this whole like toxic, keeping her at arm's length kind of relationship, while she's also very obsessed and infatuated with him. It's considered to be a dark fantasy. It's not really spicy, but it still has some darker themes to it, so I would keep that in mind. And there are so many plot twists and revelations in this series. Like, once you get into it, you're gonna be on your toes. And have I mentioned the writing style is impeccable? Yeah, okay. Just wanted to make sure you guys know. Anyways, Booksties, these were my shows slash movies slash book genre recommendations for you guys. I hope you found this video helpful. Please let me know in the comments down below if you guys enjoyed these kinds of videos, if you'd like to see more book recommendations or anything else for that matter. All suggestions are welcome and appreciated, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!